Welcome everyone. In today's video I'm going to talk to you about how you can use money markets to short sell otherwise unshortable tokens. So I've spoken in previous videos before about using leveraged yield farming strategies in order to create a short position, but today's video I'll talk about money markets because I don't think it's really that intuitive for people to understand how to use money markets this way. But they actually do say in the introduction to Solend page here, so you can earn interest, borrow, leverage long, or short sell. So we'll be using the short selling function of Solend here. So they don't have it here natively. It's a trade that you have to structure yourself, and I'll walk you through exactly how it is done. So I'll walk you through it now and talk more about the maths so you can understand exactly what happens, and I'll go through a couple of scenarios so you know what to look out for. So I've got this page up here. Ignore all of this for now and just follow wherever my cursor is. So let's just say you have 100 USDC and you're bearish the SLND token, and you wanted to use a money market to express that short position. So in this example, SLND is worth $4. So each token is $4. Just keep that in mind. So the LTV ratio is 35%. And because you've deposited 100 USDC, you're only able to take out a loan of 35% of that 100. So you're able to take out $35 worth of SLND tokens, which is approximately 8.75, as you can see here. And so the next step is to sell those 8.75 SLND tokens for 35 USDC. And so in order to close your short position, you need to pay back Solend Finance for the SLND tokens that you borrowed. So you're going to need to rebuy those 8.75 SLND tokens. So let's have scenario one where the price of SLND went from $4 to $2. So that's a 50% drop. So now that value of 8.75 SLND tokens is now worth $17.5 versus the previous $35 it was worth. So we take 35 minus 17.5. That's a $17.5 profit that you have made there, because you have rebought those SLND tokens for $17.5 when you originally sold them for $35. Solend Finance, they don't care the actual dollar value of the SLND that you repay to them. They only care that you give them the exact right amount of SLND tokens that you borrowed. So if you borrowed 8.75 SLND tokens, they expect you to give back 8.75 SLND tokens. Doesn't matter what price they are. So saying that, we'll go into scenario 2. So the price of SLND goes up 10% to $4.4 versus the original price when you took out your short position at $4. So that 8.75 SLND tokens has turned into $38.5 versus the previous $35 that you sold it for. So because you have to rebuy at $38.5 and you sold it at $35, that's a $3.5 loss that you've incurred there. So just to sum this all up, what you've done, you've taken a 100 USDC and then turned it into a $35 SLND short. Now I'm only using SLND here as like an arbitrary example. Any tokens listed here on Solend, you can actually go ahead and short sell. So SLND, Sol, ETH, Bitcoin, MSOL, Serum, FTT, Ray, Saber, and Mercurial Finance. And you don't even have to just purely use Solend Finance itself. So any money market on Solana you can use to do this. In fact, any money market in any DeFi ecosystem you can use to do this. Obviously, you can't short every token. It has to be available to borrow. Rari Capital is quite good if you wanted to do this because they have fuse, and in those fuse pools, like, you can find different pools that allow you to borrow all sorts of different collateral, and then you can sell them off and then return it to the protocol when you feel that your short position has been profitable. I mean, you don't have to be profitable in that short position. You could lose money if you wanted to, but let's just say, for example, Apricot Finance, you could use this if you wanted to short sell Orca, but something that you'd need to keep in mind is that you do have to pay a borrow APY. So Orca, for example, here has a 52.1% borrow APY. I mean, that's for the year. If you're like looking to short sell, I think for the most part, if you're short selling in crypto, it has to be a very short-term move, right? So you will have to repay your loan as well as with interest as well. But hopefully your profit will make up for any of those interest payments that you have to make. So as I showed you before, all you need to do, right, deposit USDC, do that, press supply, and then approve it in your wallet. I've already got USDC here on Solend Finance, so I won't show you that. But now you need to borrow some SLND tokens. So I want to short SLND, so let's just change this to the dollar value. It makes it easier. So I'm going to borrow 8.867. So the price of SLND is $3.95, so it's slightly different from my example here. But the concept is the same, right? You can do this with ETH, for example. You could do this with Bitcoin. You could do this with Sol. You could do this with FTT. So let's do that. I press approve, and then these, okay, we can see here assets borrowed, SLND. If I press here, there we go, it's refreshed to 9.21. So in order to actually execute the short position, I now need to go ahead and sell these SLND tokens. So there we go to Jupiter Aggregator, type in SLND to USDC and sell them all off. So that's $35. I'll swap and then press approve. Cool. Okay, so that USDC is now back into my wallet. So you are subject to liquidation risk when you are borrowing from a money market. Remember, these are all under collateralized loans, so they will liquidate you if you reach the liquidation threshold. So the liquidation threshold, as it says on here, if I go to parameters, the liquidation threshold for SLND tokens is actually going to be 50%, but in practice they've made it 80% for whatever reason here. So I'm going to stick with the 50% because I don't know if this is just out of date or if I borrow too much I'm actually going to get liquidated. So with that USDC, you could go ahead and put it into a money market and start earning yield. I could re-put it back into Solend Finance itself, and that would help me have more of a buffer and help me prevent getting liquidated. But of course, this is something that you have to monitor, like check back 2-3 times a day and make sure the price of Solend doesn't go above your liquidation point. So theoretically, my liquidation point should be $50. So if the value of my borrowed Solend tokens goes up to $50, then I would get liquidated. So if I want to close out my short position, I think I've made a good profit. I need to buy back those SLND tokens. So let me just get those 35 USDC back. Let me just withdraw 36 actually to make sure I get all of it back. And I think this is roughly the amount. So I'd rather overpay than underpay, so I don't have to do this again. Then I can press approve here. Each transaction should go through, and then I go back to Solend Finance. If I press, let's see. Okay, the swap's been done. You press refresh again. So I have the SLND back into my wallet here. So let me repay this amount. So it appears I still need to repay 0.1115 SLND, but you get the point, right? Like, hopefully all of that maths worked out and made sense to you in your head. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something new today, and make sure to subscribe for more videos like this one.